Hi everyone, it's Sue. Welcome back and welcome to Friday. Oh, it's Friday, weekend ahead. Hope you've got something really fun planned. So I'm just going to be doing a really quick video today, and I thought on Fridays I might share a little bit of collage fodder, journal fodder. I really enjoy doing this. I find that it's really relaxing, really good for, sorry, I'm just reaching for a folder, really good for my mental health and well-being. And this particular, I don't know whether you call it a flower or a leaf sprig, I get lots of comments and lots of questions about, so I thought this would be the first one that I'll do. So I have a huge folder here. This is just paint daubers daubed onto photocopy paper, but we'll go into that another time. But you can see I have a folder full of different fodder that I have made, and I thought I'll share some of that with you if you're interested. Now I'm going to be using neon paint, watercolor paint, and this is a friend of mine, and friend of mine let me borrow this, and I absolutely love it. So I'm going to be doing like brights and neon. I'm really loving that at the moment. But as you can see, you can do them in more muted pastel tones. You can do them whatever you like. I just like to have a variety of colors on hand, basically. And this is really easy. Like, I get a lot of people saying to me that they can't draw. I'm not the greatest drawer either, and you really don't need to have any particular skills to do this, I don't think. Anyway, if I can do it, you can do it, believe me. So I'm just putting some water on to some of my watercolors that I want to use, and I'll just go through with you what I use to do these. Now obviously watercolors, you can do them with acrylics as well. I can't see why you can't. I love playing with watercolors. You'll need brushes. So obviously the bigger the brush, this is an 8, I think. This is a size 8. It's easier to do the bigger. So smaller brush, obviously this is more a detail brush, so you wouldn't use that, but maybe like what's this one? A 4 or a 5 is good for something like, you know, these smaller ones here. All right, so paper, I just use, for my journal fodder, I don't always use like a really good quality watercolor paper. Why? I don't know why. I just like to leave the Arches watercolor paper for the good things. I mean, this is good, but I don't know. Don't ask me why. I just tend to go for something that didn't cost, is pretty inexpensive. This is just some, what do we call it? Mixed media paper. I've printed on this and it's misprinted, so I'm just going to use this side. It's not a watercolor, but it's a mixed media paper. This is, I'm just trying to find, this is just a really cheap watercolor paper from Kmart. It's got a little bit of a texture to it. And I also don't mind using this Montmartre watercolor book. So these are they're around about 190 GSM, 180 GSM. So you don't want them too thin because you've got to cut them out finely. So you can see it's got a little bit of substance to it. And this is just using this Montmartre paper. Okay, so I'm just going to choose a paper. Let's just use the mixed media paper, and I'll show you. So I mean, you can do this even on cardboard, cardstock scraps if you've got them. Obviously your watercolors aren't going to react the way they would on some good quality watercolor paper, but we're just playing and we're just doing fodder, really. All right, so I'll just show you what I do, and what I might do then is, once I've shown you a couple of times, I might just speed it up and you can just see me do a bit, and then I'll show you what I do with it at the end. Now it goes through an ugly stage where you first look at it and you think, oh my goodness, that looks really terrible, but once you get the pen work onto it, it really makes a huge difference. So I'm just going to activate my watercolors, and I like to actually take them out of the pans and put them onto a palette That's just something that I like to do. You don't have to do that either. And, you know, add a fair bit of water. And all you're doing is, actually, I just need to take this ring off because it gets in the way of holding the brush. All I'm doing basically is putting the tip of my brush down, I hope you can see, and just doing that, just making that sort of mark. And then I'll just make it a little bit fatter, and you can just do that until you get the shape that you want. That's all it is. It's really all it is. So you can see how this is sort of sitting, because it's not actually good watercolor paper. You can see it's taking in different areas. It's soaking into the paper more so than sitting on the top. That's okay with me. I just it just gives it a different texture, different layer to the look of the piece of collage fodder. So same thing, and we're just going to do that. So you're sort of getting, this is sort of like a fleur-de-lis, I guess you could say. And if you want it, I tend to sort of turn my paper because I'm a little bit uncoordinated. And basically you're just sort of putting the tip of your brush down and then just moving it and making whatever shape you want. So we just want sort of like a petal shape, a leaf shape. So see how that's completely different to what I've done here. None of them turn out exactly the same. I don't think I've got one that is the same as another, and then just a little bit of a stem. So if I want to add like a different color, you can see I've got a different color sort of shooting up from there. We need to put some water on here and just make it a little bit wet again. And then I'm going to add probably just, I love pink and orange together. And once again, this isn't going to, you know, spread like it would on watercolor paper. I'm not concerned about it. And it doesn't look like much at the moment, but as I said, it goes through an ugly stage. And when we get the pen work onto it, it works out better. So I'm just using a bit of that orange too, just to make that leaf a little bit pointy there. And then since I've done that, why don't we add a little bit on the tip of all of them? Okay, now I've got the orange on my brush. I'm going to actually do one in orange. So same thing, this time I'm going to start in the middle. No particular reason why. I try and sort of just try and do them all differently so that they don't look the same. I'll show you one of these on watercolor paper as well. Now, I need to preface this, I am not an artist. I just love playing. I just love playing, and it's just, as I said earlier, it's just so relaxing for me. I could sit here and do this for hours and hours and just have so much fun with it. Now, if you want to leave, you know, I've got that water there now, I can clean my brush and I can add another colour in there while that's all wet. And it'll just sort of travel a little bit better. But I mean, I'm liking the way that this is looking. It's different colours. So we'll go back and we'll finish this other petal or leaf. And once again, I mean, the piece just tells you which way to go. So, you know, I've brought my stem down here like this, and we'll just add a little bit of pink in here. So you can see how they come alive. I'm just going to pop that to the side and dry, and I'll just show you on some watercolor paper how it reacts differently. Now, just keeping in mind that I'm just using a very inexpensive watercolor paper. Obviously I've done something here and it's gone on to this next page, but that's okay, we can still use this. So what have I got? I've got orange on my brush, so we'll just do another orange one. So you'll see how it reacts differently, even though it is a cheaper watercolor paper. It sort of sits on the paper more so, you can see, than actually soaking in. So once again, I'm just putting my brush down and lifting it when I get to the end. And I don't know whether that's how you do it, whether that's, you know, like the rule of thumb, how you should do it, but that's just how I've just sort of, just from watching other people and just doing it myself, that's what I find works for me. So you do whatever works for you. So you can see how that's sitting on the paper. So let's go in there with a different colour now. We'll go back in with pink. Just love this combination. And we'll just sort of see how it sort of spreads a little bit more, because the water is sitting on top of the watercolour paper and it's not soaking in straight away. Okay, so that's that one. Let's do another pink one, and then we'll do a different colour. We'll use a smaller brush maybe and just show you. So this is smaller, a little bit smaller than this one again, and I've used the same size brush. We'll go like this. I don't know what it is. It's just find it so relaxing, and I don't put pressure on myself. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter. So this one looks completely different. Let's put this leaf going up like this a little bit more. And this looks a bit funny, but as I said, when we add the pen work, you'll see it'll all come together nicely. Okay, so I've got Jim's in the other room on his computer. I'm sorry if you can hear him yahooing and carrying on, but everyone else is out, so I've just taken this opportunity to get this video done. I really wanted to share this with you, and I thought every Friday, well, not every Friday, but Fridays I'll try and bring you a little bit more fodder. If you're interested, let me know. If you don't want to watch, that's fine, you don't have to, but I know that there's a lot of people that have asked me, you know, how I do it, and they couldn't do it because they can't draw well, you know, nor can I really, so it's easy. So this time I'm going to use a size 4 brush, so you can see the difference in size. This is the one that I used before, and this is a smaller one. Let's go with some green. And when I'm doing this sort of thing, I fill up the whole page. So there's really not a lot of, I could do a smaller one here. Let's try and do a smaller one. I try and fill up the page and use up the whole page. And then you can just cut it all out. I've got a little, I'll show you a little container here full of different fodder that I have done, and that has to be fussy cut out. I just love it. And I don't care if I've got too much. I'll use it at some stage, or I'll gift it to friends. It's just the fact that it just really helps me relax. So you can see that's different, a little bit different looking again. Let's add I don't know, let's add some pink. I don't know my color wheel either, so quite often, like this one, I end up with mud, but once again, once you add the pen work, it doesn't really matter. All right, as I said, I fill up every piece of the paper if I can, and like here I might just do a random leaf. That can be used on something. rather than waste the watercolor paper. I don't like that coloring, but that's okay. We'll just keep going. So let's just do another smaller one. But I think you get the idea. It's really, really easy. It's, you know, you don't have to think about it. And you can just do, if you don't want to lift your pen, if you don't want to lift your brush, you can just do a shape and then just fill it in. Like I've done just here. So you can see I'm just going, oh, okay, well, I'll do that shape. We'll just fill it in, do a stem. We'll add a bit of pink. So you sort of get the idea. So what I might do is I'll just speed this up now. I'll finish filling this sheet of paper and this sheet of paper, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the pen work. Okay, so everyone's home again now. So there might be a little bit of noise. I do apologise for that in advance, but you can see that these look really ugly. As far as I'm concerned, they look really ugly. And I would fill this up a little bit more than what I have, but when I cut them out, I keep all the little bits and pieces and maybe just do smaller leaves, that type of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dry all these off with the heat tool, and then we'll come in and we'll do some pen work. So all the professional watercolorists would probably die if they saw this, but see how I've added so much water on this and it's moving around, but I'm loving the marbling effect that it's giving. So I'm just drying that and just moving it as I'm drying, and it's just giving it a really lovely marbled effect. So it's just, you know, really the messier the better. They're all dried. So once again, as you can see, they look quite ugly. They really do, don't they? And you can see the different, you know, this is actually more vibrant than this, I feel, than the watercolor paper. Once again, this is only very inexpensive watercolor paper, so it would react completely different on really good quality watercolor paper. So what we'll do first is we'll just start with this one. So now we're just going to add the pen work. Now I love using this Uniball Signo 0.7 gel pen. I use it all the time for my journaling, any sort of writing. I love it. And every time I get it from my Officeworks here in Australia, I'm sure it's available worldwide. I just find that this pen is my go-to. I use it all the time. So when it comes to the pen work on this, the messier the better. Once again, the messier the better. Just keep that in mind with all of this fodder, the messier the better. And this is when you define your leaves or your petal shapes, whatever you want to call them. Now see how I've gone out the line there? It doesn't matter, because what we're doing is we're going to come in with a double line, double squiggly line, and it just defines and just gives it a little bit of movement, bit of texture, if you will. So same thing, we're just going to do this, and I just do it really quickly. I really generally don't think about it too much at all. I sort of just bring it, and like I've brought that to a point and there's nothing in there. If that annoys you, you can add more paint, but I honestly don't think that you need it. So yeah, just squiggly lines. So look at that, it's coming to life already, and I do exactly the same for the stem. All right, so when we're in the middle, you can actually make it a leaf, or you can add, this is what I like to do, is I like to add, 3, what would you call them, like stamen, I guess, to each petal. This looks like a bit of a bird, doesn't it? And you can do them little, you can do them long, it doesn't matter. And then I just fill in the ends with a dot. This one I'm only going to do 2 because I can. And look at that, that looks so different to what it did before. It looked really ugly before. Okay, and then you just fussy cut them out and you end up getting this sort of thing, which is, I don't know, I just love them. I can't stop making them. Pink's my favorite color, if you haven't already worked out. The pastels look really nice too, and you can see here I've just done them basically as leaves, not so much as petals. So I've just done one line on them. These I've done some veins, I don't know whether you can see that, and then I've just come in with a white gel pen, which is the Signo as well. I'll show you that one. It is the Uniball Signo 0.7 again, but in white. So I've just come in and done that on some of the leaves. You could do that on these bigger ones as well. Okay, so I'll just show you again. So this one looks a little bit funny down here, but let's just define the petals a little bit more. So you can see I'm just being really rough, really quick. I just don't overthink it too much. And I just love the way they turn out. Okay, and then we can just bring the stem down here like that. So, it's a different shape. But still a beautiful piece of journal fodder. So I don't know, what do you think? I think you should give it a go, and you can use them for all sorts of things. I have a video coming up on showing you on a little project that I'm working on. It's a thing that I'm doing daily for myself, and I've used some of these on it, so keep an eye out for that video. It should be coming up in the next couple of weeks. But these are just so fun and relaxing. I mean, you can just paint a heap of these, and then, one day if you don't feel like doing much, just sit on the couch, do your pen work. Another day, same thing, I just roughly cut them out, fill this container, and then if I feel like not doing too much, I'll just sit and fussy cut a few bits and pieces. And then it's amazing how quickly your fodder builds up, as you saw from the folder that I've got there. Let's do this little ugly one that I made mud in. We'll just make him like a leaf more so than a flower. I don't even know what sort of flower this would be, if it is a flower. But the thing is with this fodder, it doesn't have to look realistic. And in here, you know, we might add, because of that mud that I've made there, we might just add some, you know, like white dots or something, just to, not to make that mud so obvious, if you know what I mean. So it just covers up any mistakes. So if you do make a mistake, it's easily fixed. So you can see, you know, it's not so bad anymore. This one's pretty ugly, so we'll do that one. I just love them. They're so much fun. And I think the fact that you don't have to be perfect. You know, when I first started this this craft, everything had to be so perfect, and it's just amazing how junk journaling has managed to let me let go of things. So we could even just leave it like that and not put any dots on the end if we wanted to. So I'm just going to leave that as it is at the moment. If you've got like a Posca pen or a white pen or something, you could come in and add, you know, bigger dots, or you can make bigger dots with your gel pen just by filling them in. So I mean, it's as limited as your imagination, really. You can just play and just doodle all over them, do whatever you want to do. Sometimes the white pen doesn't work, so I just sort of write on my mat here, and it sort of gets it going again. You can't really see it that well on this colour, but so that's a little bit different again. Okay, we'll do a couple on this mixed media paper. So this is the one that I liked that was sort of marbling a bit. We'll do that. So as you can see, I'm not being perfect with it. We just go. And I like the bit of white as well when you fussy cut that out, because I'll go around this black and leave those white bits in there. But it just looks like the petals are folding. Okay, I'm going to have to wrap this video up. I think everyone's home and making a noise. So I'll just quickly do a couple more and then we'll call it quits. So let me know what you think, whether this is, you know, Fodder Friday is something that you might like to see more of. As I said, it won't necessarily be every Friday. Just depends on my life and what's going on and whether I can get the video done. But I just find this really relaxing, and I just get so many people say to me, I can't draw. Yeah, no, I can't really draw that well either. But it's not about that. It's just about playing and having some fun. And you can see how quickly I'm just doing this. It's basically just scribbling. Do a third one here. See? This makes such a difference, doesn't it? Oh, I love them. Just love them. I could just do this all day. This one I'm going to just leave as maybe like leaves. We'll just do the one piece through the middle. But the wiggly lines and going over it twice just really makes the difference, I think. See, what do you think? You know, like I'd come in here, you know, we could even maybe do some black dots, because I don't particularly like, you know, that colour the way it's sitting. So we can just make the leaves with some black dots. So just come in and just really randomly add some black dots. What do you think? See, I'm just going to keep going now. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably say hooray, and let me know what you think, whether it's something that you would give, you know, give it a go. Is it something that you'd like to see more of? I don't know. I'll probably do it anyway. If you don't want to watch it, that's fine. I just enjoy doing it, and I do know that some people are interested in seeing how it's done. That one I'd probably just leave as it is. See, I can't stop. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing my process. Once again, I'm not an artist. This is just playing for me, and I find it so relaxing. So I hope you can have some fun with it as well. And keep an eye out for the video that I've got coming up showing you how I use some of this fodder. All right, guys, take care. And until next time, I hope you get a little bit of creative time in. See you soon. Bye-bye.